Women's soccer legend Megan Rapinoe is retiring. Mariners draft three high schoolers in the first round, and Julio sets a record in the home run derby. Welcome back to another episode of the Seattle Sports Show, where we love all of our Seattle sports teams. You heard it in the little intro there. We have a lot to talk about today. Big news happening in Seattle sports this week. First up, we have a couple of things that happened that just we have to have more than one lead topic this episode. First one being Megan Rapinoe retiring, announces her retirement, going to be after the U.S. women's national teams tournament here for the World Cup. Hopefully, she can end her career with a third World Cup. That would be quite amazing, right? And then she will finish out her season with the OL Reign. Now, that's the one championship that has eluded Megan in her career to this point. She has not won a title in NWSL. So hopefully the Reign can get that done this year. They're doing quite well. Maybe not so much this last week. We'll talk about that when we get to that. So many players being gone, on national team duty right now. But, I still really like the chances of the team this year. So now let's go ahead and talk about Megan Rapinoe. My goodness. So far, again, I say so far because I'm hoping for a third, but so far, Megan has won 2 World Cups, has won Olympic gold medal. She was the Ballon d'Or winner back in 2019, I believe it was. She has won, again, not that championship in WSL, but she's won 3 shields in her time. And, again, 17 years being on the U.S. women's national team. I mean, come on. She's the GOAT, right? And then, so many, accomplishments off the field personally as well that you just really have to admire her for all the work that she's done for LGBTQ community, for women's equal pay, just again her on and off the field legend. So we're getting ready to start the World Cup here. So we're going to be keeping a close eye on that. And then once that is over and all the players return to their teams, we're definitely be keeping a close eye on the Reign and Megan, and hopefully she can get a championship with the Reign before she retires. And also something that you should put on your calendar. October 6th is they're doing their special send-off appreciation game for Megan that day. They've already scheduled that, so that is something you're going to want to put in your calendar book. Save that. If that is something that you can make it to, you're going to want to make it anytime you can make it to these events. Like Sue Bird retirement. If you're able to get to that, that's something you should have tried to go to if you could. Again, I'm not saying if you can't, then that that sucks. I mean, like I was not able to make it to Sue Bird's jersey retirement. I would have loved to have been there, but I wasn't able to make it to that. But if you can keep it in your mind that these are things that are special, then try to keep those dates in mind. October 6th, Megan Rapinoe, they're doing a little special appreciation for her on that date. So keep that in mind, and let's move on to our next lead topic today, which is going to be the Mariners draft. And as we said there in the little opening, they selected 3 high schoolers in the first round of this year's MLB draft. Now, again, like I said, I'm not any sort of pro, and I'm not going to be pretend to be some expert on baseball prospects. Basically, what I see who they drafted, I go and start reading about them and try to figure out what's going on here. And so with the Mariners' first pick in the first round, pick number 22, they selected Colt Emerson, shortstop out of Glen High School, Ohio. Now, Colt Emerson, they're saying, okay, he's listed at shortstop. That's what he plays. But what they're saying about this guy is he's got a bigger frame, right? So he could easily be playing second base or third base as he grows. Remember, this kid is just 17, right? So he's already got a big frame, so he can grow more, get bigger, and then he might slot in naturally to second base or third base, which in a couple of years, that's going to be really nice to have. Also, they're saying this guy is maybe second best. He's either first or second best batting talent in the high school in this year's draft. So, again, that's something the Mariners desperately need. We already have a ton of pitching. We already have a ton of pitching in the system. We got to get these bats caught up, right? We've seen how frustrated the fan base can get when the team's not doing good. Even though they did go out and make good signings to me this year, they still could. Like I said, they still could have done a little bit more. But I feel like the players they signed, they were good signings for the team. But when the bats aren't going the way we want them to, it's hard to get bats to come here because of T-Mobile Park, right? It's hard to hit in that park. So you got to draft them. So it's good to have them in the system. So that's what they're doing here with pick number 22. Then we get our next pick, number 29, Johnny Farmelo. They're saying he's an outfielder out of Westfield High School. And same thing with this guy. They're saying great bat, super fast, big frame. I believe they said he's playing center field right now, but again, because of his big frame, they're wondering if he can keep, and he'll probably, again, just a high schooler, he's probably going to grow a little bit more, get a bigger frame. Maybe he's not going to be able to keep the speed. Are they going to put him out on one of the corners eventually when it's time to get there? But again, exciting to get that. And here's my most exciting pick, or the pick that has me most intrigued out of the picks that they did in the first round. At pick number 30, they got Ty Pete, listed at again shortstop out of Christian School, Georgia. Okay, now here's what they're saying about this kid that I really like. So we've seen him pitching. He hasn't pitched, they said, in 11 months because he had kind of like a little shoulder flare up, so stopped pitching. But again, I told you they listed him at shortstop because this kid has got all the tools. He can play all over the field. So where did he need to play? He could play there. Got a ton of speed. Has got again an amazing bat. So the way I was thinking about Ty Pete when I was hearing, um, different scouts talk about this guy, it made me kind of think of Anthony Richardson in this year's NFL draft. Right, went number 5 to the Colts. Everybody was talking about him though. This was a guy that, in my eyes, before the NFL draft started, I thought this guy was going to be like a second or third rounder. But because of his freakish athletic ability, he got himself propelled all the way to the number 5 pick. That's the kind of way I hear people talking about this Ty Pete kid that the Mariners drafted. Insanely athletic. Still, again, high schooler, again, just 17 years old for Ty Pete as well. So insanely athletic, though. So maybe this kid is a potential boom or bust, kind of like Anthony Richardson in NFL. But at pick number 30, and, we got 3 picks in the first round. One of them was, a bonus pick for Julio winning Rookie of the Year last year. So, it's like you kind of got like an extra pick. So, why not go after these young bats and young guys to get in your system and get them in your system sooner so you can start training them the way that you want them to be trained. From what I understand, the way the salary works for draft picks is you get different slots, and they're using some higher slots on these draft picks so that they won't decide to go to college instead. No, you want them to come into your system as soon as possible, start getting them trained the way you want them to be trained, and translate into your system. Now, again, with Ty Pete, I really trust the farm system that we have, and that they can get this guy ready. And if they can, again, the potential that's there is just so intriguing, and the potential ceiling that he could reach. The way scouts talk about him, it has me really excited to see if this guy can put it all together. If he doesn't, is that's sports. It's really hard to do, but I'm going to be excited to follow along this kid's journey and see, if he could really be this amazing player that he has the potential to be. So there it is. There's your first round draft picks. Now they've made a ton of other picks at this point. The draft still isn't over, so maybe we'll go over the rest, on another episode. But again, for me, that's going pretty deep into the weeds. I don't know the prospects that well. So we'll probably mention them in a later episode, but I'm not going to be, giving you breakdowns on each of these kids and, what we're looking at. But just congratulations to all of them for, getting to this point. That's pretty amazing. That you work all your life to, to eventually one day be a professional athlete, and then to get drafted. Now you definitely have to congratulate all these guys. Now let's go ahead and talk about the Mariners still in our next lead topic that just had to be a lead topic just because it was so amazing. I just watched it a few hours ago. Oh my goodness, the home run derby. We're kicking off All-Star Week here in Seattle like with a bang. It was amazing. Seattle's doing it right now. Just I haven't actually gone downtown myself. I've been working, and I'm not trying to get into that craziness. I've seen people posting pictures on Twitter on how much they're paying for parking. I'm not trying to pay $120 for parking anywhere just so I could get close to the stadium. That sounds ridiculous. but all the festivities and the the celebrity softball game, the HSBCU Swingman Classic that Ken Griffey Jr. put on, the Future Stars game, all that stuff that they've been putting on, that's been amazing. Um, and now we had the home run derby, and my goodness, hey, what did I say? Why would you put Julio and Pete Alonso together in the first round, right? Now, I, I guess I kind of forgot, but they explained it in the little, in the commentary about how, like, oh, the seeding is based off of how many home runs you've actually hit so far this year. So this is why uh, uh, Julio has a lower seeding and has to go against Pete Alonso in the first round. But I mean, Julio destroyed him. He destroyed everybody in the first round. 41 home runs hit in the first round sets a new record for most home runs hit in a single round. Okay, and it was electric in there. You could tell the fans were just losing their minds because they saw, because they were excited that he was going to hit a lot. You knew he was going to hit a lot. And then when he started getting, it was nuts. You get the 3 minutes, and when he was at like the 1 minute and 30 second mark, it was like, wow, he's already got like more than half of what everybody else has already done at this point. And then he just kept launching him. So I think you could, like the whole stadium could feel that energy of like, wow, we're about to watch something special's about to happen. And he was just kept launching him and launching him and launching him, and it was just amazing. He got the bonus 1 minute and just kept launching him in that. Got the 41. It was insane, and you could tell he was pumped up afterwards. And the whole crowd was. Now, I don't know what happened in the second round. It seemed like everybody was tired in that second round because I wouldn't say anybody had a great performance in that second round. But Julio ended up with just 20, so he didn't even make it half what he got in the first round, and then and he didn't hit any home run. He didn't hit the home runs. You had to hit 2 home runs at least 440 feet to get another bonus 30 seconds. He didn't do that in the second round either, so he didn't get that extra bonus time to try to extend it even more, which was a bummer because, of course, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. did get that because he also barely got to 20 by the end of the regular time 3 minutes to tie Julio in that second round. Of course, he had the bonus minute for hitting the longer home runs, so you knew he was going to hit at least one in that bonus time and pass Julio. So that's what happened there. And then Vladimir Guerrero Jr. went on to win the whole thing. So congratulations to him. And then, Vladimir Guerrero and then now Jr., first father son duo to win the home run derby, which is pretty amazing as well, and it has to be pretty fun for any of the fans that were there in attendance. But again, going back to Julio, just amazing. I mean, just think about that. Just in 2 rounds, 61 home runs. Amazing. Again, to me, and you have to go online on social media and look at who everybody is talking about: Patrick Mahomes, Kevin Durant. Everybody's talking about the performance that Julio put on, and it's just like last year. Did Julio end up winning the home run derby last year? No, but he was the talk coming out of it because of the performance that he put on throughout the rounds. Same thing this year. Does Julio make it to the He didn't even make it to the championship round this time, and yet he's the guy everybody is talking about because of the single round performance that he put on. And this is why uh MLB was like, well, we got to have this guy in the home run derby. Because it was amazing to see, and again, he's just an energetic, fun guy to watch, and you need that in baseball. You need good, young, energetic, good role model guys like that to, for the kids to watch and aspire to. All right, there you go. There's our lead topics. Again, we had a lot of them today, but now we can get into our regular rundown. So let's get to it. All right, Seahawks, here we go. Is there much to talk about? News wise, no, there's not any news to talk about. Again, we're kind of like in the little lull right here for the NFL, but we still have questions, okay? And the question I want to pose to you today is, have the Seahawks done enough on defense to be a real contender for the Super Bowl? Okay? Let's remember what they've done. They went back out and got Jaron Reed on that line. They signed one of the biggest free agents this year on defensive line, Draymond Jones, and it almost seems like people have forgotten that's happened because I hardly ever hear people mention it when they talk about what's happening on this defense. But that was a huge signing for us. They went and got Cam Young in the draft, who I think is going to be really good. So, plus we have our returning players like you know who I'm trying to say. I don't know why. My brain is having a brain fart right now. But Njena Nwosu. There, that's I don't know why I couldn't think of the name. Anyways, we got those kind of players, okay? I already think that the defensive line is going to be better than it was last year. We are relying on some rookies once again to step it up, but just the veterans that we have signed, I think alone were already an upgrade over what we had last season. So, are we relying heavily on those rookies that we drafted in those mid to late rounds? No, I don't think so. But if Cam Young pops, I think that's going to be a huge bonus for us. Now, if you're somebody out there who doesn't think we've done enough, and I'm not saying that I think we have, I'm not 100% convinced that we have done enough on the defensive line. Let's take a look at what the Seahawks could do. They have about $8 million in cap space still at this point. And there's free agents on the market. Now, who do you want to go out and get on the defensive line if you think the defensive line still needs help? Now, we've seen this player here before, Jadeveon Clowney. He's playing out there on the edge. Again, we already have Nwosu. Mafe is going to be playing out there, 255 pounds. And is he going to be the guy that is the run stopper? Potentially. I think he gets kind of a bad rap in the a lot of coaches think that he's a good run stopper, or he's a good defensive lineman for the run. Now, is he getting all the tackles? No, he's not getting all the tackles. That's not what defensive linemen do. But they play their position so that the linebackers and safeties can come up and get those tackles. Same thing with Yannick Ngakwe, who would be another free agent I would be interested in. I was interested in him a few years ago when he was a free agent after leaving uh, the the Jaguars. Again, uh, he's playing out there on the edge. Smaller frame, is that exactly what we need? Maybe not, but it is some a an option that you can help on the team. That would be giving you veteran experience out there on the edge, because some of the younger guys that we're looking at still kind of unproven if they can do it yet. Um, so uh, somebody like an Ngakwe or a or Jadeveon Clowney would still be good in my eyes. Now, let's go ahead and look at a couple of guys that potentially their frame is more uh, what you're looking uh, for our defensive line, because we still need guys that you know we're still looking for players that are going to be the big meaty players that are again helping to stop the run and taking up space in the middle of the line so that we're not getting run all over again, right? We don't want that anymore. So here's a couple of players that are available still. Shelby Harris, somebody we're also familiar with. He's got that big 290-pound frame, still out there, still available. And then the other one, Damakung Su. What do you think about that? Old, quite a bit older now. Definitely nowhere near his heyday, but could still be effective. Have that veteran presence and be that big body inside. And maybe he had such a great career. Maybe he's somebody that you could also have around and teach the young guys that teach them a few tricks, that are going to be here for the next however many years. Now, again, $8 million in cap space. We're pretty deep into free agency, getting ready to start training camp here very soon. So, how long do you wait before you sign any of these guys, or, you know, do you wait till somebody on your team is injured? Are you going to try to get these guys later into training camp or later into the preseason, even thinking, okay, these guys still haven't signed with anybody? Are they going to get desperate? Can we get them at a cheaper price? And I don't think any of these guys, none of these guys are young guys, right? So, it would also make me curious to know if any of these guys would be also willing to take the 1 year deal. Okay, this team has potential to win a Super Bowl. Maybe I can pop with this team real quick, and that helps me get another 2 or 3 year deal with another team before I head out. Or in somebody's case, like in Ndamukong Suh, is he somebody who goes, you know what, this team has a Super Bowl potential. Do I want to come in here and try to help this team and try to get one last Super Bowl before I fully hang him up? That's the kind of stuff that I've been thinking about lately. Now, to me, I think you guys already know how I feel about this Seahawks team. I definitely feel like they have the potential to win a Super Bowl. That defensive line is still my biggest question. But again, with what they did with signing Draymond Jones, drafting Cam Young, getting Jaron Reed back here as well, I think those are actually going to be big additions. That's going to make us better than what we were. That is going to help us be a potential Super Bowl winning team. All right, there you go. There's your Seahawks. Let me know what you think about that. Let's go ahead and get to our next team. Okay, once again, here we are talking about the Mariners. We've already said how much fun we're having with the All-Star Game festivities happening here, how awesome it was to watch Julio get the home run derby. But let's talk about what the team did this last week. My goodness! And since the last episode, they've been hot, but also, uh, just like the last 9 games in general, winning 7 of the last 9. We've been heating up. Okay, we beat Houston. You know, in the first game of our 4-game series with George Kirby on the mound. He had a fantastic outing. You know, he went 6 2/3 innings and just gave up 1 in the 7th there. And then for offensively, Suarez had a 2-run shot in the second. JP Crawford homered in the third. Cal Raleigh had a single RBI in the 7th. And then Mike Forward got tossed in this game. You know, it seems like this year in general, a lot of games I've watched, and it seems like it's happening all over MLB. But you know, the strike zone can be all over the place. Ford was not happy. He let the ump know about it. He got back to the dugout, and he was still yelling over to the ump. So they tossed him. You know, he was. You know the. I don't even remember who was up after him. It might have been Caballero, but he was already up there taking his at bat, and Ford got tossed in the middle of it. That's how mad Ford was on that one, and you could see he was mad. You know, and he had every right to be. I mean, I think George Kirby also benefited some that night from the kind of inconsistent strike zone, but you know, when you're a batter up there, you got a full count. You're trying to work, you know, and again with the up and down that this team has had, you know, you just don't want the ump to make mistakes like that in those situations. I just see how that's really frustrating for the player when they've already when the team in general, not Mike Ford, because Mike Ford has been on a heater the last like what month or so, but just in general when the team is struggling up and down this year, it can be frustrating when something like that happens. Let's see here. Suarez hit another home run in the 9th, and then JP Crawford had an amazing gem of a play where he had to dive to stop the ball on the gap. Not dive. He was making a running stop to get the ball in the gap, makes a running jumping throw away from first base, but gets the ball still down there in time to get that out. Mariners won that first game. Now, of course, we had the second game with Luis Castillo pitching, and my goodness, what a fun game this one was, right? Julio had this little blooper that, you know, at best you would have thought was going to be a single if you know if nobody was able to get to it. But Julio, he saw that. He saw nobody is going to get to that ball. I am going to hustle, and I love the hustle he put in to make that a double. Okay, this was the one that it didn't get that far past first base. It didn't get that far into the outfield, but just the way it carried right in, it kind of in between outfield and first base there. Second, second. Couldn't get over there. All three of them, the outfielder, second baseman, first baseman, none of them would get there. But Julio able to dig in and hustle and make a double. that's one of the reasons why to me I was like, "Yeah, this kid deserves to be at the All-Star game this year, just making a ton of plays like that. Um, and in general, there's a lot of tough defensive plays made to stop balls from getting through the infield by Wong and Suarez in this game. Um, Unfortunately, on a couple of those plays, they weren't able to get the outs at first, but just amazing plays just to stop the ball in the first place. Um, let's see here. What Wong had a RBI single in the fourth. Julio had a two RBI single in the fourth. Um, and Hunter Brown got knocked out in the fourth with two on and no outs. He started hot. Um, and he was another one where it was like, okay, this Hunter Brown guy, he's coming out and he's looking like the Mariners are about to let him start set a new season high for strikeouts once again. But nope, they got to him here in the fourth. Then Cal Raleigh came in and he had an infield single, RBI. Kellenic walked when bases were loaded to bring in a run, and then Mike Ford had a bases clearing double, and then let's see here. Wong came in next. He had an RBI that he was trying to stretch into a triple. Wasn't able to make it. Got thrown out, but Ford was already in. So they ended up getting 9 runs in that fourth inning, and then they rounded out the game all the way in the ninth inning with Mike Ford getting a solo home run in the ninth. And so they ended up winning that game 10-1. Now the next day, again, I don't know why for me, but it didn't. It just didn't really feel that frustrating to me. I know a lot of people were frustrated with this loss, and I wish they would have won it too, because then we would have like swept a 4-game series against the Houston Astros. That would have been amazing. But we ended up losing this one 3-2. Brian Wu was on the mound. He had a rocky start. He was able to turn it around quickly, and then he retired 16 in a row after the first inning, 17 of 18. The one he didn't retire was a walk in his last inning on the mound. So he had an amazing outing, and then there was 2 runs given up. I believe he was only charged with 1 because there was a throwing error from Dylan Moore, I believe, in the outfield. So one of those runs didn't get charged to him. So when you take that into consideration and look at the score, I mean, it was absolutely amazing what Wu was able to do. And I guess now that I think about it, now I am starting to get a little bit frustrated that they wasted such a great start, but still didn't bother me as much as some of the other ones could have. Caballero was good in this one as well. He wasn't able to pull Ellie De La Cruz, getting second, third, and home, but he did steal second and then third. So that was fun to see. Crawford had a RBI single that got Caballero in home from third after he stole second and then third. So that was good to see that that the Mariners weren't wasting somebody on the base paths that was doing some great base stealing. So that was good. Caballero had an RBI single himself in the fourth, and then unfortunately Munoz gave up a solo home run in the eighth, and then that was all they needed to win that game 3-2. Now, I know what the frustrating part for everybody is that the Mariners did at one point have the bases loaded, no outs, and then they couldn't even bring 1 run home. That would have been huge for us. Obviously it would have been better if the team had done it. I just don't know why. For me, it didn't feel. I think because the team has been doing so good lately that to me it just felt like, okay, well, you know what, that's baseball. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes you get bases loaded, um, and you don't get a run in. uh, you know, I guess it feels like it happens more with the Mariners this year than it is with anybody else. But I'm not watching anybody else, and they've had too many good wins lately for me to let this one loss, even though it was in a frustrating way, frustrate me. To the point where, again, people were starting to lose their minds already on this one again, where people are like, "Oh my gosh, look, I knew it. This team's no good." And then right back again the next day, they were back. See, I'm not one of those. I'm not one of those type of people where I get too hot or too cold. Like, I'm gonna let it. I'm gonna let the team, um, do what they do, and then we'll see. I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna make a decision if I like this team or not anymore based off of every swing of the bat. I'll watch the whole game, and then I'll decide if it was good or not. If the team played good or not. Because the next game we had Logan Gilbert on the mound. Um, Again, amazing. He had a home run given up in the sixth, but that was it. Teoscar, he had an RBI double in the fourth. Kellenic had two RBI double in the fourth, and that's all we needed. That got us the 3-1 win, and that was gave us the series win over the Astros, heading into the All-Star break. Again, winning the last 7 of 9. Again, that's, I believe, 3 series in a row that we've won against teams with a winning record. Hey, it's looking pretty good, especially since we lost to the Nationals. That felt pretty bad, right? Where it was like, oh no, we just lost to one of the worst. We just lost a series to one of the worst teams in baseball. But then to come back and get series wins, series win after series win against teams with winning records, that feels pretty good. And you know what else feels pretty good? The standings right now. Are we in the wild card spot yet? No, but now we're just 4 games back in the standings in the wild card, and then look out, just look out. I don't want to get too nuts here, but we're also only 6 back now. Remember, we were just recently 10 back in the standings for the division. All of a sudden, we're winning. Everybody else in the division who started hot, who I didn't think were going to be that good, they're starting to come back to earth a little bit, while we are starting to play what I believe this team was going to be before the season started. Obviously, they didn't start out that way, but now they're starting to play it like it, and this is a good time to start playing up to your potential, because again, just 4 games back in the wild card spot. Now just 6 games back of Texas for the lead in the division. And like I said, this is a good time to be getting hot, because Texas is just plummeting. It looks like they have not been playing good. They are 3-7 in their last 10. Okay. Again, Houston, still a really good team, but also dropping. And then we all know what's going on with the Angels. I mean, Trout injured, going to be out for a while. Otani has an injury. He can still bat, but not pitching. And it doesn't matter how good of a performance Otani does with the Angels. It seems like they still lose. It seems like the better performance he has, the worse that team does. Like, they just love to waste his good performances, whether if it's pitching or batting. Now, the Angels, in their last 10 games, they're 1-9. Okay, so they're definitely crashing back down to reality, because that was definitely a team. When you look at the whole roster, I did not think, like, especially the way they started out the season, I was like, how is that team doing so good? I mean, I I guess it makes sense because they have Trout and Otani, and that's what can happen when you have those two players. But now that we're coming along farther into the season, everybody's getting back closer to their averages, and they are just like dropping. So come on, Mariners, let's go. Coming up out of the All-Star break, I can't wait to see what they do. All right, let's go ahead. Let's transition into the Kraken now. All right, and for the Kraken, we are getting into free agency, and my goodness, they have been doing a lot, right? First one was Brian Dumoulin signing a 2-year contract with the Kraken. That was the big signing that they've made to this point, right? That was big, coming over from the Penguins, big time defender. That should be able to help this team a lot. Local fan favorite Yamamoto gets to sign a 1-year contract with the Kraken. So I'm sure that's going to be a popular signing that everybody's going to be behind and cheering for. Then they got Kale Fleury. Again, another defenseman. So they really focused on offense in the draft, and then seems like they've been getting a lot of defense here in free agency. They got Pierre-Edouard Bellemare to a 1-year contract as well. This is a forward that came over from the Lightning. We signed a 2-year contract with Will Borgen. So we get Will Borgen staying back, 2-year deal. So that is good. I like Will. We got let's see here. We got what did we got Cole Lind on a 1-year contract as well. Another forward. And then the other signing that we have made is, how do we say this one? Kale Fleury. I don't remember how they say this guy's name, but again, keeping one of ours to a 2-year contract. So lots of good signing. By the Kraken so far. Hopefully they can keep it up. Again, no Vince Dunn yet. I know that's the big name everybody's waiting on to see if they're able to re-sign Vince Dunn. Hopefully they can get that done. And I know I've heard Dunn say that he would love to, be here and have a long career in Seattle. I just know he's going to be sought after, right? So hopefully they can get that done. And then we will just keeping an eye on if they sign any other big name potential free agents out there as well. That's the free agent signings for the Kraken. Let's go ahead and move on to our next team now. This is going to be the Storm. Okay, and for the Storm, it has not been looking good in the standings. For the record, that is. I didn't get to see this game, but they lost to Connecticut 93-73. I watched highlights. They did not look good. They did not. That game just looked horrible. They did not look like they played well at all. Just like, yeah, it was not good. I mean, thankfully I didn't see that one because it just watching the highlights and seeing the score. I think they had like less than 10 points in the first quarter of that game. When the first quarter was over, so that was not good at all. Um, and then they come right back and come against one of the other best teams in the league this year, the New York Liberty, and they gave them one heck of a fight. My goodness, this again, at the times when this team shows the potential, it shows that like they're not far off. They just need to. They just got a lot of young talent. They need to get it put together. They need to figure out their rotations. They need to figure out who's the starting lineup because it's getting changed a lot. We had another starting lineup for this one. Dulcie got to start in this one and had an amazing start, by the way. But they still haven't figured that out either. Is who's really going to be, the starters on this team? Who's coming off the bench and who's bringing the energy that way? There's still this team is still figuring it out. With so many changes on the team this year, they're figuring it out. Dulcie, by the way, super active on the boards, got a double double, 12 points, 14 rebounds, and yeah, we lost in New York, but we were able to hang in there with them, and the score ended up being 80-76. So that should tell you, you know, when we're playing right, we can hang in there with the best of them. Now, because we have so many rookies on this team, it's hard to play right, right? Because they're still learning the game at this level. And now, the other day, going back to what I said before about the standings, who won the game? The Mercury won a game. We now, both teams are 4-14. Just saying. You want to keep increasing those odds to get a better pick in the upcoming draft? Well, the games are fun to watch whether they win or lose. I always enjoy watching them. So, and especially if you keep it in the back of your mind, well, there's a lot of great talent coming out in this year's draft. So, it's maybe not a bad thing if we end up with the top 3 pick. Maybe not a bad thing, especially if we ended up in a position where we get the give ourselves a better chance to get the first pick. But we'll see how things play out. But yeah, keep watching those Storm. They're still fun to watch. A lot of great young rookies on the team, and then Jewel Lloyd is just amazing to watch every time out. So you don't want to miss those. Jewel did get hurt in this game. I didn't see any update how serious it is. Hopefully it's not serious. Hopefully she's not going to be missing a bunch of time. I know she's supposed to be in the All-Star game. I haven't heard if that is, if her ankle injury is going to affect that at all. Hopefully not, because she deserves to be there. But then just more so, hopefully she's going to have the health to be able to play out the rest of this year and help contribute for this team. All right, there's the Storm. Let's get to our next team, which is going to be the Sounders. Okay, and what a week it was for the Sounders. My goodness. And this game had me up and down. My goodness, as the Vancouver got a goal in the 23rd minute. It was like, oh no, this is not good already. It just felt like, oh no, because this team has struggled offensively for a little while now, right? And then especially with, again, players being out on national team duty. That's really, that's another thing that's hurting this team's offense. So you feel like, oh, well, that's not going to be good. But then we are able to come back in the 60th minute with Leo Chu. He gets a goal off of a corner kick. And then, so you're feeling like, okay, good. Ooh, we can at least get a draw here. And then, it's at least still come out of this with the point in the standings. And then Vancouver comes back and they score a goal in the 71st minute. And you're like, oh no, dang it, we gave it up. And then Leo Chu comes back again and gets a goal in the 76th minute. And you're like, oh, yes, yes, that's amazing. And then, um, we go into extra time in the 91st minute. Yamar Gomez Andrade is able to, there's uh, a shot that gets kind of like knocked around all over the place, or I guess it was a cross. I don't know, a cross or a shot. I couldn't quite tell what he was going for there. But one kind of gets knocked all over the place there. Ball ends up with Yamar Gomez Andrade. He's able to knock it in the 91st minute for the 3-2 lead. We get the win. We get the points in the standings. The standings now, as it stands, we got 35 points, 3 back from St. Louis. But imagine now, we like again a couple of points during this game. I thought we were going to end up with 0. I thought we were going to end up with a loss. So that would have kept us down at 32 points, and then we're looking at being like fourth in the standings. But at the way that it stands right now, just 3 behind St. Louis and still second in the standings. So that was huge for them to be able to pick up a win in that game and the way they did it. So there you go. There's that. And now let's go ahead and talk about the next team, which is the Rain. And we already talked about Megan Rapinoe and her retirement. Congratulations to her on such a fantastic career. But what happened on the field this week? The Rain lost to the Orlando Pride 1-0. During this game, there was a yellow card on Bennett for colliding with the goalkeeper at some point. That when I watched it, I was like, "What? How was that a?" Somebody explained to me how that's a card on Bennett. To me, I thought she was making a good play, going after that ball, and yeah, at the same time, the goalkeeper's trying to go to make a block on the ball. But I felt like Bennett had every right to be going after that ball as much as the goalie did, so I didn't get that. Um, I mean, to me, when I was watching, if anything, I thought like, hey, the goalkeeper like kind of ran into Bennett when Bennett could have been going after that ball and maybe possibly could have got a goal. I felt like the goalkeeper like purposely, didn't go for the ball as much as she did Bennett. So I just didn't understand how the yellow card went against Bennett. Anyways, that's what happened in that match. We lost 1-0. Again, it's tough. The Sounders don't just have the 5 players gone for the U.S. Women's national team. They have like a couple other players gone on other national teams as well. So, you think the Sounders are struggling with 2 of their top players out right now on national team duty? Well, think about what's going on with the Rain. They got they got like half the team missing because they have so many players on national team duty right now. But what can you do? We're still in the standings. Not for. I mean, I wish we could have got that win, right? Or even a draw would have been okay, because then we would have 25 points, and then we're looking at a 3-way tie. At the top with 25 points. So it would have been really nice to get that. But, you know, I just feel like, okay, now we're getting ready to take a break here for all the World Cup stuff going on, and then we're gonna get all of our players back, and then we'll be right back in it, and hopefully they'll be able to end out the season on a high note, and eventually, hopefully, win a championship. Right? That's what we're really hoping for. Especially, we'd like to bring one home for Rapinoe on her way out. Okay, so that's what happened with the rain this week, and let's just do another quick hit on the sea dragons. Okay, so the XFL is interesting. It's not the NFL. There's not a lot of big news going on because they're very dependent on knowing who's not going to play in the NFL first before they know who's going to come play in their league. So not a lot to talk about them right now. Again, they are still holding player tryouts across multiple cities on different dates. So we're just going to keeping an eye on those and see if we hear any amazing stories about players that the Sea Dragons end up signing out of those. I mean, I would love to be able to come on here and tell you about some kid that didn't think they were going to ever play professional because they didn't. Who knows? Maybe they had an injury in college, so the NFL decided not to draft them, or whatever reason they ended up not in the NFL this year. Or maybe there was somebody who there's a lot of players that end up in the XFL where they had a bad year, their first year in the NFL, and then they got cut, and then they come to the XFL so they can prove it that, hey, that was a bad year, but hey, I'm still a good player, and then they come back and make it again back into the NFL. We've seen that happen multiple times. So hopefully we'll see some fun stories signed out of these tryouts over the next course of, I think they're happening over like the course of the next month. So we'll see what happens with that. But with that said, that is all we have on the dragons right now, or the sea dragons. And that is all we are going to have for today's show. So, with that, I want to know what do you think about Megan Rapinoe retiring? Are you sad? Are you happy for her? Are you going to go to her little celebration game? Are you going to be watching the U.S. women's national team going for their for the championship there for World Cup, and see if Megan can win her third? If you're paying attention to the draft, what did you think of the draft for the Mariners? Were you surprised that they took all high schoolers? And are you excited for the prospects that they drafted? You definitely leave all the love in the comments for Julio and what he did in the home run derby, setting a record in a single round. Let me know. I in the comments, you better say something about Julio. You better say, I don't care what you say. You better say something about Julio and the performance that he did. Okay, and then again, also let me know. Do you? I want to know in the comments what did you think about the Seahawks and what they've done for the defense so far this year? Do you think they've actually done enough to be a contender with what they've done with the defensive line? All right, and that, my friends, is going to be the episode for today. Appreciate y'all listening. I would love, 5-star ratings and written reviews if you're over there on Apple Podcasts, or if you, are listening on Spotify, Anchor, whatever you're listening on. Hit the follow or subscribe, whatever you need to hit. YouTube, obviously, hit subscribe, notification bell, so you get all the new episodes and are notified when they're happening. Because again, that all really helps the show out, in growing and finding new fans and building the community. All right, that is the episode. So thanks for listening to the Seattle Sports Show, where we watch legends awaken and breathe fire. So take cover, because with a sea of sound, you will see us rise to reign supreme and win forever.